You are staring at a screen in a dark room, agonizing over a single text message so you don't appear desperate. Or maybe you're standing in a crowded room, rapidly reading shifts in tone and body language, ensuring absolutely no one around you is upset. This behavior runs on a very specific premise: the belief that if you are accommodating, smart, or strategic enough, you can perfectly control how other people treat you. You twist yourself into the exact shape required to keep the peace. But living like this generates massive identity fatigue. You stop experiencing your own life and start managing it. You become a function rather than a person, performing a carefully edited character to avoid friction. The painful irony is that this performance repels genuine intimacy. People sense the script. Your attempt to secure connection through compliance leaves you entirely isolated. This diagram illustrates an external locus of control, a psychological state where emotional stability relies on outside forces. Your baseline becomes hostage to unpredictable variables. A partner's distant mood or family's toxic expectations directly dictate your internal weather. Hyper-focusing on other people's needs is rarely about altruism. It is a desperate attempt to regulate your own internal anxiety by micromanaging your environment. Managing the external world guarantees powerlessness. You are ceding your personal sovereignty to variables you cannot actually control. Most people don't develop this level of social calculation as adults. It forms in childhood, typically within environments that are emotionally unpredictable. Managing others was a survival mechanism that outlived its original use. The developing brain adapts to chaos by becoming extraordinarily attuned to stimuli. You learn to read micro-expressions, subtle shifts in tone, and the tension in a room, all to predict an incoming emotional threat before it arrives. The psychiatrist Viktor Frankl observed the human need to find meaning in suffering. When a mind is forced to navigate a chaotic environment, it becomes incredibly sophisticated at pattern recognition. The philosopher Nassim Taleb wrote about how fragile systems break under uncertainty, while resilient ones adapt. Your mind built itself to survive uncertainty. The flaw in this adaptation is that the nervous system's threat detection cannot easily be switched off. A hyper-attunement designed to keep a child safe becomes a critical vulnerability when you carry it into adulthood. In romantic relationships, this trauma response misfires. Your brain scans a partner's neutral withdrawal or a harmless silence and immediately interprets it as a threat of abandonment. It drives social anxiety in the exact same way. The brain's fear center misinterprets standard social evaluation as a physical danger. You get trapped in a loop of monitoring your own movements to avoid rejection. In family dynamics, enduring this constant performance eventually leads to emotional saturation. This is the breaking point reached after years of chronic invalidation and unreciprocated effort. Research by Dr. Carl Pillemer at Cornell University confirms that people rarely cut off their families over a single explosive event. The break happens after a long, slow erosion of emotional safety. Spiraling over a text message, experiencing social panic, or walking away from a family dinner forever are not character flaws. They are your nervous system's final attempts to regulate itself when external control completely fails. Breaking this cycle requires abandoning the illusion that you can manage others. As this diagram shows, you must shift to an internal locus of control, where your emotional baseline is generated from within. The psychologist Carl Jung called this process individuation. It is the work of separating your authentic identity from the expectations of the people around you. This structural change is the starting point for a state where your internal equilibrium is no longer a direct reflection of someone else's behavior. To maintain this framework, you must develop a genuine comfort with solitude. When sitting alone is no longer terrifying, the desperation driving people-pleasing evaporates. You practice non-reactivity. When faced with a partner's manipulation or withdrawal, you don't scramble into frantic damage control. You choose a calm, amused pause. You proactively enforce boundaries. You reward respect with presence and disrespect with distance. By consistently holding these lines, you are retraining your nervous system to stop interpreting a lack of external validation as a survival threat. Establishing these boundaries carries an immediate cost. You will feel the guilt of outgrowing friends, and you will mourn relationships that were built exclusively on your compliance. You will navigate a transitional period of loneliness. This is the temporary price of shifting away from survival mode attachment and stepping into genuine self-mastery. You give up the comforting illusion of controlling others, but in exchange, you finally become the undisputed author of your own experience.